What's up, gang? Sean here, and today I'm going to talk about the top 7 beliefs I had to overcome.
Welcome to the Couples Marketing Podcast, the only podcast that's focused on marketing together as a power couple. We believe you can have it all, and living an integrated lifestyle is the only way to experience everything together. We spent the last 3 years learning from the most brilliant marketers today. We've broken free of the 9-to-5 and jumped into building our own multi-7-figure online empire. The question is, how will we continue to do it without outside funding or debt? Completely from scratch. This podcast is here to give you the answer. Join us and follow along as we learn, apply, and share proven strategies, as well as give you the insights on how to win online as a power couple. And now, here's your host, Sean Malone.
All right, guys, Sean here. I wanted to jump into this really hot and heavy because I got 7 false beliefs that I had to overcome to earn myself, my mindset, my skill sets, my network, to earn that rank of moving into a place where I could actually work with Melissa and build a business as a couple, because that's what we're about, right? It's the integrated lifestyle. And we achieve that through marketing as a couple because we believe you can have it all, and experiencing everything together is the coolest thing since sliced bread. So let's jump into the top 7 false beliefs that I had to overcome. False belief number 1, I'm just too busy. I don't have the time. I remember, like, when I first got into the game, I started studying a lot. And if you're doing that, good for you. Like, I'm glad, because what you're going to identify is the market leaders, the industry leaders, the people that are winning the game. And so I was doing the same thing, and I went through this whole process, and it's totally cool, and I'm so glad that you're doing that. Like, that is the right move. So pat yourself on the back. Good job for you. One of the things that I remember was just listening to all of these different podcasts. So if you're on iTunes, what's up? Spotify or Stitcher or whatever, what's going on? If you're on YouTube, hey. Facebook, what up? Instagram, same thing. Cool. Hey, guys. So I was listening to all these. I was just digesting everything from all the great mentors that I had. And really, I'm going to get into mentors and like how to choose one and select. And I think that's a big piece of really winning big at a big level. But I was listening to stories, and I was listening to this guy named Josh Forty. He's 24 years old. He's an Instagram king, and he was telling me, actually, he's a social media king, right? He was sharing on this podcast. He was like, yeah, like when all my friends went to the bar, when all my buddies were doing this, that, and the next thing, I was at home studying and reading books and listening to podcasts and absorbing this kinds of content. Like, whether I'm at the gym, like if you're at the gym right now, like more power to you, right? Like, I got to go to the gym this afternoon. I'm super pumped about it. But, and that's what I do. I absorb content from other people when I'm at the gym. It's like kind of a multitask, keeps me relaxed. I'm also learning something at the same time. So I get my brain moving while I'm moving my body too. And so Josh Forty was talking about how he sacrificed his time from going out drinking to putting it into learning some stuff. And what happened? What was his results? Well, he became a multi-millionaire over a period of like 3 to 5 years. And I truly believe that's more than possible. We live in the greatest era of any time of anything ever in the whole entire universe, right? There's more opportunity knocking at your doorstep. Like, I think there's an abundance, an overload of opportunity. And the overload creates all this noise, and this noise is causing people to be like, do I go down here? Oh, squirrel over here, silver, like, over there. No. But, right, the value is this. When you level up your mindset, your skill set, and your network, what happens is the level of importance of things in your lifestyle raise and lower. And so I used to drink a lot. Melissa and I would go out drinking all the time, and we loved it, right? Like, we would go dancing at the country bar. We would go to the nightclub downtown Las Vegas. Like, we live in Vegas. Like, come on, it's a nighttime city, right? It never sleeps. But what really hurt the most was sometimes I get really drunk, and I'd come home, and I remember the next morning I opened my wallet and I'd pull out these receipts, and I would look at this receipt, and I would just, like, my heart would drop, and my stomach would start to, like, I'd already hungover, right? So, like, my stomach would, like, cringe. I'd just, like, start getting these cold sweats because I would see I'd spent, $500, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 on drinks. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how long can this go on? And at the time I was making pretty good money, but regardless, it was such a waste of cash. But my life, I valued that stuff. And I thought, well, damn, like, what if I put the same value on that, partying, drinking, going out, hanging out with, that thing. Like, I love, like, friends, great. Yeah, absolutely. But what if I just kind of pivoted that into, why don't I try to learn a skill that can level myself up, self-improve? How do I get better? How do I become the best version of myself? How do I gain more skill sets so I can actually win the game, right? Who can I meet? Who can I use this money to go invest into a seminar or this or that and the next thing? And I remember I was listening to Josh 40 and I had this huge epiphany, and all those thoughts just rushed through my mind. So sorry to take you on that whirlwind of a tour there. But what I understood was that the people that said, I am too busy, because that was me, like, I'm too busy, I can't, I got to go out and party with my friends. I'm too busy, I got to go out and ride on my boat. I'm too busy, I got to go do this thing, right? I don't have the time. I used to say that all the time. And I realized at that moment, like, I was that guy. And I just had my value and my importance of things that were really, really going to truly propel us to the next level were incorrect. Like, they weren't aligned. And at that point I said, okay, this is something, just by listening to Josh, he was interesting. He changed my world, because he said, look, focus on the things that are going to move you forward. What are the things that are going to help you grow? And I realized at that time, like, I needed to make the shift and say, no, I can't say I don't have any time for this, because this is the thing that's going to propel me into a place where we can create a sustainable living and build an integrated lifestyle. Because that was our goal. Like, that was the goal. That was the big thing, right? And so that's how I kind of climbed over that false belief that I used to have. And I'm so grateful for it, right? So if you're out there and that hits you, like, great, for sure. Like, leave a comment. I love reading comments. Helps me, it excites me, because I love sharing this stuff with you. Second false belief, I don't have the money. Hear this one all the time. I was that guy, right? When we started online, let me just share this. Like, I'm going to whisper. We actually had $100,000 in credit card debt. $100,000. Most people I talk to don't even have near that amount. Maybe they have 10 or 20 or 30 or 50 or anything. Like, $100,000. Like, how did that hit you? Like, And that was me poking my side for those who can't see me. And I just thought to myself, like, dang, like, why do I always say I don't have the money? I always say that because I don't have the money. I had all this debt, right? But I knew, because going back to what I just said earlier, is there's so much opportunity. There's an abundance of opportunity, okay? And I said, what can I do to level up? Because I learned by just watching and studying people that you are not going to be able to receive the things that you want to receive unless you've acquired the mindset, the skill sets, and the network to inherit those things or to receive those things. And so if you're not ready to acquire, or if you're not acquiring the wealth that you want, or you're not having the integrated lifestyle that you want with the relationship with the person you love, or your family, or spending more time, or doing the thing, it's because you haven't become the person you need to become in order to achieve those things. And I was like, whoa, I heard that from Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson's one of my all-time greatest mentors. We're part of his inner circle. He is thebomb.com for sure, 100%. And what he was talking about was this whole idea of, like, if you don't level up, you're never going to get anything that those people that have leveled up get. And I was like, oh. And I was reading a book like 2 weeks later, and I remember the chapter of the title was Be, Do, Have, Be. And I was like, Be, Do, Have, Be? What does that even mean? And then as I read through the rest of the chapter, it was be the person that you need to be and do the things that person. Okay, so be the person that you want to be. Like, that's the person. So, like, you got to be that person. So whatever the stuff is that they have, that's who you want to be. Like, I would love to be just like Russell Brunson. That dude built $100 million software company online in less than 3 years And, he had 15 years of trials and tribulations before that, but nobody sees that part. But yeah, he really put his time in, and he's a master at his craft. And I love watching that stuff because I'm fascinated by how much of a student he is and continual learning. It's incredible. And he's created this humongous wake of all these other millionaires, which is awesome too, right? And the chapter was be the person that has the things that you want to have. I'm okay, cool. So I got to be like Russell Brunson. What does that look like in my terms? Because I think people try to mimic him and imitate and do all this other stuff. People have different values. Okay. We talked about that earlier, but with the whole thing about that is, being that person means you just have to show up the way that he shows up, always on time, never be late, don't stop showing up, be consistent, persistent. And some of these traits are more important than mimicking the thing, right? And so I was okay, so I documented all of the traits that he had. He's always on time, in fact, and he's always prepared. Even though if he doesn't know quite what he's going to talk about, he has bullet points. He knows how he's going to do his thing. He shows up the way that he has to. He publishes like a fiend, one of the biggest fiends I've ever seen, which I love. Publishing is very important in the online game. The stuff that he teaches is super sound. It's robust. It's simple to digest. And I'm okay, so these are the traits that I need to acquire. So be that person. All right, do the things that person does. That's the next one. Be, do, have, be, right? So watching him doing the thing. So he gets on stage. What do? I got to go get on stage. He's got a podcast. What am I doing right now? I am building a podcast, right? He's publishing like a fiend. I'm starting to publish like a fiend. So I know that just by doing the thing that he does, I'm probably going to receive not the biggest level of success that he's gotten yet, because I haven't become that person, but I'm on my way, right? And you're on your way too. By listening to this podcast, kudos, dude, because check this out. You are on your way too, right? If you just keep absorbing this, they say people that listen to podcasts earn 80% more income than those that don't. So you being here right now, kudos to you. That is a big piece. Be, do, have, be. So have, right? So once you've been that person for a little while, you've done the things that person's done for a little while, you'll start to have the things that person has. And I was man, when we first started online, I was it would be so cool to have $1 million. And what happens 2.5 years later? We made $1 million. And I was that's crazy. This is for real. So now I know that more of the same thing will get me more of the similar result. And so now it's be, do, have the things that person has, be that person. And then the cycle starts over. So when I get to 100 million, I'm going to see where Russell is. He might be at 1 billion. He's going to still be my mentor, right? If he's continuing to grow, I'm going to continue to grow. All these other people. Alex Sharfin, huge mentor of mine as well. Love the guy with all of my heart. Stephen Larson, another big influence on my life and marketing career. There's so many that I could list. I'm not going to waste time with that. But this comes down to, I don't have the money. I kept thinking to myself, I got to be that person. So that person spends money on this. I got to go spend money. I got to figure out where I can make it. How can I come up with the cash? There's so many different ways to make money. You could drive Uber. You could do Lyft. You could do Grubhub, Uber Eats. You could sweep people's yards. You could plow snow. You could mow lawns. There's trimming on the houses. There's yard work, side work. Get on Fiverr if you have a skill, if you're an artist. There's so many ways to create money to fund yourself going in the direction you want to go. It just comes down to having the value and having the importance and having the drive and the determination to actually achieve the thing, right? That's the big one. So when I went through this whole process, watching Russell Brunson do that, I was be, do, have, be. I read that chapter. I saw him. I was boom, bang, bang. I'm going in that one. And then all my money issues, I had them. I had $100,000 in debt. They kind of floated away because I was I don't know how I'm going to get the money. I just know I'm going to get the money, right? False belief number 3 that I had to overcome. I'm waiting for the best opportunity, right? I used to wait and read and watch and digest and absorb. And I'd be oh yeah, I could do that. And I'd be sitting on the couch. I remember watching I wanted to drive monster trucks. I love monster trucks. And I was watching the World Finals and I was watching the driver in the little video afterwards. And you're just you see the truck go up, boom, and then I looked at Melissa's I could probably drive a truck like that. And she's no, you couldn't. You don't have the experience that guy has. You've never done this. You've never done that. I was like, yeah, you're probably right. Like I probably couldn't. But see, I was always waiting for this opportunity. And then I would have an influence, like Melissa at the time, because she knew that I'm not the best driver. She's like, you could never drive a big truck like that. You could try. It'd be interesting. Yeah. So I had a little bit of that influence, but then I also waiting for the best opportunity. I was like, someday they're going to call me, but I never did anything about it. Right. And then what I find in people that are frustrated, they get frustrated about having the best opportunity because they never take any opportunity. They just let it pass by. And there's an abundance, there's an overabundance. The universe wants to give you the thing that you really want. You just got to show the universe that you're ready for it. So in that conversation at that moment, I actually got mad after that conversation. And I was like, no, I can drive this truck. But then I started thinking to myself, like, okay, the truck drivers, unless you're like the top 1% in the monster trucks, like you don't make any money. And I was like, I'm out. So that didn't become my thing. But I did look at a lot of other business opportunities. I was looking at online stuff and I was looking at all these other things that was going on. And I didn't take action for the longest time. And then I started taking action. I watched that movie Yes Man, like Jim Carrey, he's the Yes Man or whatever. And he started saying yes to everything. I was like, man, I'll just start saying yes to everything. We'll see how that works. Well, it works, right? Like go and do the thing. Learn the skill. That's it. And so I just thought to myself, like, that's just a switch in my brain. That's a false belief. The best opportunity is the one that I create and I make. And so at that point, I was like, yeah, I'm good with that one. Let's move along. False belief number 4. Why not get started in an online business? Oh, it's risky. And my job is guaranteed. I could go on for hours about this one, but I'll be short and sweet to the point. Like, check out the government shutdown, this recent, just the 2018 to 2019 time when President Trump decides, hey, I'm shutting down the government until I get money to fund the wall that I'm trying to build. Okay. I was always under the belief that the government jobs were the most guaranteed, the most secure, the most you're going to be okay jobs in the world. I know people that, in fact, the numbers are staggering. It's over 800,000, almost 1 million people have been out of jobs for weeks, right? And we're currently in the process of that shutdown. It still hasn't resumed yet. I think it's the longest ever government shutdown in the world. In fact, what's crazy is that I know that President Trump knows that if he stays shut down for another week and a half, 2 weeks, he's going to earn the amount of money necessary to fund his wall. I don't know if that's his play. That would be insane. But I can tell you that sucks, right? And if it's risky and my job is guaranteed is a thought that I had any time in my life, it was completely shattered by this government shutdown because that's crazy. I thought government jobs were the all-time safest, and clearly they are not. 1 million people without work can't feed their family right over the Christmas holiday. Man, what's more risky? Like working for an entity that you don't know, it's up in the air, like what's going to happen, or building a business where you're like, oh, I know if I do this and I follow this formula and I put this in and I put my time, energy, and money right here, it's going to return me roughly this. To me, that's more clairvoyant. That's more, I understand what's going on. That's more, I can do that. I can make my own rules. I can market the way I want to market. And yeah, so that's too risky. That's crazy. People that say they have a stable job and security. Oh, well, I'm in a private job. Okay, it's so much better. So like you're now building, you're spending your time exchanging it for money. And then now you're building this other dude's dreams, this other girl's dreams. Like go back to that traditional business model. The owner is the one that controls the amount of time or the amount of value that your time has. And it sucks. And that's why I don't like it. But anyway, that one floated out the window. That government shutdown was insane. Is insane. We're in the middle of it right now. So that's my thing. False belief number 5. I don't have support from my family. Yes, this one sucks. It's so many stories about this one. It's hard. This is one of the hardest. In fact, I have a podcast coming up here. It's the I don't remember which one it is. But I have one coming up here that talks about the 3 phases of acceptance. with your, your friends and family. Because like when you go and start a new, I want like, this is what happened to me. So I don't have support. I'd never had support from my family. And I went through these 3 phases. And I think when people understand these 2, I'm going to dive into it really deep here because I'm going to do a deep dive on it later, but there's 3 phases of starting your own business. First one is avoidance, right? So like if you went into a direct selling business and you started saying, okay, and they instructed you, hey, go and sell to your friends and family. And you're like, okay, well, I don't really want to do that, but I'll do it anyway. So you call your sister and your mom and your dad and all these people, and you're like, hey, I got this thing. I want to go and, I want to come over and share it to you. It's a business opportunity. So the first thing that happens is like, oh my God, like no, X comes up, right? That's the big thing. X comes up. And then nobody takes your calls anymore. They straight up avoid you, right? And this happened to me. So then I was like, dang it, that sucks. So then about a month later, I was still in the same thing. I started making a little bit of cash. I called my sister. No answer. Called her again. No answer. Called her again. No answer. What happened? Straight ignorance. She ignored me, right? This went on with all of my friends, all of my family. It went from avoidance to ignorance. That's the second step, right? And then the third step, when we made it big, after about 5-6 months in, we started earning, we earned our first 6 figures after 7 months of being in our business online. And I remember that my sister, I got on the phone with her finally, and she says, Sean, I knew you could do it. Overwhelming acceptance. And so those are the 3 phases. And I recognized, I was like, that's really, really interesting. And right at that moment, there was I remember a telephone bill sitting on her desk. And I looked down at this and I thought to myself, this is crazy. I have built up this big mole of a mountain into my mindset where like I was so worried about my friends and my family, like not accepting me and Melissa for what we were trying to accomplish. And why not? Like, it's the greatest thing ever. Integrating a lifestyle by marketing as a power couple, you get to do everything together. You get to experience everything together. You can have it all. It's possible. Like, And I'm looking at this bill and I thought to myself, because I just got off the phone with my sister, was like, she doesn't pay my bills. My mom doesn't pay my bills. My dad doesn't pay my bills. My best friends don't pay my bills. And I thought about it for a second longer and I was like, So we went from avoidance to ignorance to overwhelming acceptance. And I have this bill here that's been going every single month. And none of those people that avoided me and ignored me or accepted me at that point, none of those people pay my bills. And so I thought to myself, look, I don't have support from my family. Well, so what? Like, they'll always love me. I'm blood to them. They may not support me in my thing that I'm doing. Okay, who cares, right? Like, that's why finding a community is really important, finding mentorship and having those people to coach you through this. So like, if you're experiencing any one of these stages, like, understand it's totally okay, it's normal, and you're allowed to go through these things. And that acceptance should help you quite a bit, because if you remember the 3 phases, like, it's easy to get over this one, because I was at that point where I was like, dang, this one almost stopped me from action. And that was my biggest thing, right? False belief number 6. I get this one every day. This one cracks me up, right? There's too many scams out there, Sean. It sounds too good to be true. It must be a scam. Well, I could tell you that, yes, there are scams out there. What we do know is not a scam. The solution that I found to this problem, because I used to be this guy, right? Like, everything I would look at, I would always be like, nah. It wasn't until Tai Lopez set us off on the online journey way back in the day. I watched some video of his for 3 hours and I was like, damn, this guy is talking so much sense. Like, I need to invest. It was $67 at the time or something. So I did. And for like 6 months later, I paid him $67 per month for like 6 or 7 months. And I was like, okay, I went through his whole course and it was awesome. But I thought it was a scam. I thought, like, there's no way that this guy is the real deal. And when I ended up paying my second month, I was like, no, he's still got good content. Third month, no, he's still got really good content. Like, And at that stage, I was like, no, this is not a scam. Like, this guy really does read a book a day. He's got the second biggest book club in the world behind Oprah. Like, that's insane, right? You can't have a book club that big unless you're a real deal. But he's legitimized and he's the real thing, Sean. Yeah, well, he didn't start that way, you know? And but the thing is that there are a lot of scams out there. And so here's what I would say. This is the thing that I did is I considered the source. If you consider the source of the thing, then that's awesome, because when you really go down and you look at the source, you look at the thing that started the whole organization, you do the research, you check the Better Business Bureau, you call around, you read reviews. Like, reviews online are stupid. They're usually fake anyway. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But you know, I love getting reviews if they're good ones, right? But what I would say is that, like, man, in my world, I did so much research before we got started with the organization that we're with, because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't a scam. And if you consider the source, do your research. And it's like this. When I was a young kid, I went and joined a karate school. And I remember going into that karate school, and my dad was with me. And this this little white belt guy came up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, what's up?" I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" He's like, "This is the coolest thing ever." And then the mom of this white belt came over and sat next to my dad. And the mom was like, "Hey, you shouldn't join this school." And my dad's like, "Well, what's going on?" And she goes, "Oh, my son gets picked on all the time." Like, okay. Well, so then we watched this class. And so we heard that from the white belt's mom. And then it was like, what we realized in watching the class and watching this white belt, at least my dad told me this later, was that the kid was initiating getting picked on. So it's his fault, and his mom was just taking his side. And then we talked to the black belt after the fact, and my dad grilled him, asked him a bunch of questions. I remember like it was yesterday. And at the end of that, and we had done this with like 5 different karate schools because we didn't know which one I was going to go to. And then he came to me, he said, "That one." And I said, "Okay, let's do that one," right? Like, I'm just following. He says, I said, "Why that one?" And he says, "Because that lady is the white belt, and that dude at the black belt in that school is the man. He knows his stuff. He's getting the results. He's getting other people the results that I want you to have as a little karate student." I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting lesson." It's like, if you're going to join a karate school, talk to the black belt. Don't talk to the white belt, right? That's the lesson. And so same thing with an online business. Talk to the black belt. Don't listen to the white belt. So look for proof. Yep. And let's see here. False belief number 7. I don't want to waste time. What if it doesn't work for me? So we went to this online conference for ClickFunnels in 2017. And we were down in Dallas, Texas. And I remember when Russell Brunson came up on the stage the first time, I was blown away. I was like, "Oh my God, this is the guy. This is the thing. This is the person that I want to follow." And he started talking all these crazy things. I was like, that would never work. That would never work. And I got into this negative spiral, this loop of that. Like, it'll never work for me. It'll never work for me. And I remember Melissa turning me, because she was right next to me, and she says, "Sean, that is the thing." And I just said in my head, "I'm never going to do that." And she goes, "That's the thing." I'm like, "That'll never work." And she said to me, she said, "Sean, what if? What if it does?" And I'd never until that moment in my life, like, understood this term, what if. And I was like, oh, okay. So let me throw my skepticism to the side and just answer the question, what if? And we started going down this path. There's this thing about traffic and conversions and the people flowing into our system, and like a way to like resurrect it so it would go faster and better and stronger. I was like, what if that did work? Like, that would be fascinating. And then I look back in my notes, and I had been taking notes, copious notes, and I look and I was like, what if that worked? Like, if what if that one, what if, oh my gosh, like you put these two together, boom, right? And after that conference, I just replaced, I don't want to waste my time, what if it doesn't work, to what if it does work? And when I just switched that thought, that mindset, like opportunity just opened, like, Heavens. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. That was the 7 false beliefs that I had to overcome to start building an online business. If those resonate with you, again, go to couplesmarketing.com, and check out a free video about our services. I know you'll get some value out of that stuff. Until we talk again, see you later.